Welcome back to my YouTube channel, coin lovers and treasure hunters. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in modern numismatics, a story that has stunned collectors, investors, and enthusiasts around the world, the incredible tale of the 2013 1-cent coin. A Lincoln penny that has shocked the coin community by being valued at a staggering $6 million due to a series of rare minting errors, manufacturing anomalies, and mysterious die mistakes that make it one of the most sought-after modern-era coins in American history, a true reminder that even the smallest coin in your pocket can hide a fortune if you know what to look for. And as we go through this, you'll see why the 2013 penny has earned a legendary place among collectors, not because of gold, silver, or any precious metal content, but purely because of the unique imperfections that turned an ordinary cent into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. The 2013 Lincoln cent, minted during a time when billions of pennies were being produced each year, was never expected to be worth anything beyond its face value. After all, these coins were made primarily from copper-plated zinc, with a composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, but what happened during the minting of some 2013 cents was extraordinary. In a few rare instances, production errors, die deterioration, improper planchet preparation, and even misaligned strikes led to coins with unbelievable defects, some off-center strikes so severe that parts of Lincoln's portrait disappeared entirely, some double die obverse coins that show the date or the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appearing twice or shadowed, and even a few that were struck on the wrong planchets intended for dimes or foreign coins, creating pieces so unusual that they instantly drew the attention of professional graders and collectors. What makes the 2013 1-cent so valuable is not just one kind of error but the combination of multiple rare mistakes appearing together, for example, a double die obverse combined with a broad strike or off-center strike, or a transitional planchet where the penny was struck on a blank with the wrong metal composition. There are reports of 2013 pennies that exhibit a distinct double image on Lincoln's face, a ghost-like duplication that happens when the die shifts slightly between strikes, and such coins are known to fetch thousands of dollars, but when the error is extreme, crisp, and visually stunning, the price skyrockets into millions, as happened with the legendary 2013 example graded by experts and authenticated as one of the most dramatic minting errors ever recorded. This particular coin showed not only doubling on the obverse but also reverse die misalignment that caused the 1 cent inscription to appear slanted and partially doubled, while the overall planchet was struck slightly off-center, making it one of the rarest triple error combinations ever documented in the Lincoln penny series. Beyond the technical aspects, what makes such coins so valuable is their rarity and appeal. Collectors chase the impossible, and when a coin like this appears, it becomes an icon. Imagine a coin worth only 1 cent by design, yet through sheer accident, becoming worth more than a luxury mansion, a car collection, or a lifetime of wages. That is the wonder of coin collecting, and the 2013 1 cent embodies that magic perfectly. Now, when discussing the possibilities of what could make a 2013 penny worth millions, we must also consider the intricate process behind how coins are made. At the U.S. Mint, dies strike planchets at tremendous speeds, hundreds of coins per minute, and any slight misalignment, dirt on the die, or pressure variance can cause a defect. Normally, quality control removes such coins, but occasionally, especially during high-volume minting years like 2013, some escape into circulation. Among these are off-center strikes where part of the design is missing but the date remains visible, and those are highly sought after. Then there are the dramatic double die obverse errors where doubling occurs on the letters of "Liberty" or the date, often mistaken for simple wear by casual observers but immediately recognizable to trained eyes as mint errors worth thousands. Add to that the rare struck-through errors where foreign material like grease, thread, or even a small metal shaving gets pressed into the coin surface during striking, leaving ghostly impressions and unique textures that make every such coin one of a kind. There are also examples of die cracks and die cuts from 2013 cents, where overused dies develop fractures, leaving raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface, especially near Lincoln's head or the rim, and when these appear prominently, they add considerable value. The most famous of the 2013 errors, however, involve wrong planchets. A few pennies were struck on dime planchets, making them smaller, thinner, and lighter than normal, with missing design elements around the edges due to the smaller size, and these have fetched huge prices at auctions. Imagine finding a 2013 penny that looks oddly small or silvery. That could be one of those wrong planchet errors worth tens or hundreds of thousands, and if it combines other defects, the value can leap into the millions. Experts in the field have analyzed certain 2013 specimens that display incredible features like broad strikes, multiple strikes, and partial collar errors, all of which result in unusual shapes, bulged rims, or warped flans. One notable discovery involved a 2013 penny that appeared double-struck with rotation, meaning the coin was struck once, then flipped or shifted slightly before being struck again at a different angle, resulting in two offset images of Lincoln's portrait. Such coins are incredibly rare and visually stunning, easily making them treasures for advanced collectors. The market for such pieces has grown rapidly because collectors recognize that modern era coins like this are becoming more desirable as traditional sources of precious metal coins dry up. The fascination with modern errors lies in their unpredictability. They are genuine factory mistakes, unrepeatable, and each one tells its own story of what went wrong at the mint that day. For the 2013 1 cent, the Denver Mint was particularly active, and some of the most striking errors trace back to that facility. Numismatic researchers have suggested that die deterioration, improper annealing of planchets, and even slight temperature variations during production might have contributed to these bizarre outcomes. There are rumors among collectors of one specific 2013 D Lincoln cent that combined multiple factors: a double die obverse, a reverse misalignment, and a die crack across Lincoln's shoulder, a trio of errors that turned a 1 cent piece into a $6 million collectible, certified and encapsulated by one of the major grading services. The emotional side of this story is just as powerful. Imagine someone finding such a coin in a handful of change, perhaps at a grocery store, unaware they're holding a fortune, until they take a closer look. This happens more often than people realize. Many million-dollar pennies have been discovered accidentally, and the 2013 cent joins that legacy, reminding everyone to check their pocket change because you never know when luck will strike. Coins like these embody a blend of artistry, history, and accident, a snapshot of imperfection preserved in metal, representing the unpredictable beauty of human creation. Even minor differences in the striking pressure, die polishing, or plating quality can create micro-errors invisible to the naked eye but visible under magnification, and those small variances, when rare enough, can mean the difference between a penny and a payday. Some experts speculate that the 2013 series had experimental planchets tested during production, resulting in subtle color or texture differences, with certain coins showing unusual toning, rainbow hues, or matte surfaces, all factors that enhance collectability. Then there are the possibilities of repunched mint marks, though by 2013, these were mechanically applied, yet slight hub doubling can still mimic that effect, leading to collectible varieties. The visual appeal of an error plays a huge role in its price. Dramatic off-centers, crisp doubling, and clean strike anomalies tend to command the highest premiums because they are immediately noticeable even to non-experts. Auction records show that dramatic, high-grade errors with excellent eye appeal can achieve unbelievable prices, and in the case of the 2013 1 cent, when such a coin combines several visually obvious errors with historical intrigue, it becomes irresistible to collectors and investors alike. Some 2013 cents also feature plating blisters, small bubbles on the surface where the copper layer separated slightly from the zinc core due to contamination or uneven heating, and though usually minor, these can sometimes create interesting textures or patterns that make the coin unique. Others show signs of partial missing plating, exposing the zinc beneath in silver patches, which when combined with other striking errors. Next 2000 1 cent coin, my friends and fellow treasure hunters, coin lovers, and collectors from around the world, today we are going to talk about a coin that has captured the attention of numismatists, historians, and collectors alike, the 2000 Lincoln 1 cent coin, a humble penny that under extraordinary circumstances became worth an unbelievable $5 million. Not because it was made of gold or silver, but because of the incredible and extremely rare minting errors and production mistakes that turned this small piece of metal into one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered, a story that reminds us how sometimes even the tiniest imperfection can turn ordinary into legendary. and this is why so many collectors are now looking at their change with magnifying glasses and microscopes, hoping to find one of these miraculous 2000 error cents hiding in plain sight. The year 2000 marked a fascinating era for the U.S. Mint, with billions of pennies being struck at the Denver Mint alone, and in that ocean of production, just a few rare specimens emerged with bizarre and breathtaking mistakes: coins struck off-center, coins with double or even triple strikes, coins with die clashes, coins that somehow ended up on planchets meant for other denominations like dimes or nickels, and coins that display doubling on Lincoln's portrait, the date, or inscriptions like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," making each one a one-of-a-kind treasure. Among these, one extraordinary 2000 penny became a numismatic sensation when it was authenticated and sold for $5 million due to its combination of multiple mint errors that should have never happened on a single coin, a perfect storm of minting anomalies that created a piece so rare and visually striking that collectors were willing to pay a fortune for it. The story begins with how coins are made. A blank metal disc called a planchet is fed between two dies, one for the obverse and one for the reverse, and when struck under immense pressure, the design transfers perfectly. But when something goes wrong in this process, like a misaligned die, an improperly prepared planchet, or a malfunction in the striking mechanism, the results can be spectacularly unique. In the case of the 2000 penny, errors ranged from off-center strikes to doubled dies, from die cracks to plating issues, and each of these variations adds layers of intrigue and value. For example, off-center strikes occur when the planchet isn't properly seated between the dies, causing part of the design to be missing. Depending on how far off-center it is, the value can skyrocket. A 5% off-center error might bring a small premium, but a 50% or more off-center strike with a visible date, especially from 2000 can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Combine that with a clear double die, where Lincoln's face or the lettering appears duplicated due to a slight shift in the die during hubbing, and you've got a major rarity. One of the most famous 2000 error cents exhibited a dramatic doubling on the date and on the letters, "Liberty," so crisp and defined that experts immediately recognized it as a major variety rather than a simple mechanical doubling. The coin also displayed a partial collar error, where the rim on one side appeared higher and the edge was distorted, showing evidence that the planchet was not properly held during striking. Such a combination of errors in one coin is practically unheard of, and it's this unique convergence that catapulted its value to $5 million when auctioned. Other known 2000 errors include coins struck on the wrong planchet, such as those accidentally struck on dime planchets, resulting in a smaller, lighter coin with missing outer design elements. These are instantly recognizable and highly prized. A few 2000 pennies have even been reported struck on foreign coin blanks or transitional metal compositions, showing colors and weights that differ from standard copper-plated zinc cents, leading collectors to speculate that experimental planchets might have been mixed into the production lines that year. Another major type of error seen in 2000 pennies involves die clashes, where the dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions of the opposite design on each die, which then appear faintly on later coins. Such pieces often show parts of Lincoln's head or shoulders mirrored faintly on the reverse, and they are extremely collectible. Die cracks and cuts are also seen on 2000 cents. These happen when the die develops fractures, and metal fills in the gap, creating raised lines or blobs, often near Lincoln's profile or along the rim. The larger and more visible these are, the more valuable the coin. Some 2000 cents display cracks that stretch dramatically across the obverse, adding visual appeal and collector interest. Another fascinating phenomenon from that year is plating errors. Since modern pennies are made of zinc coated with a thin layer of copper, any contamination, moisture, or variation in plating thickness can cause bubbles, blisters, or areas where the copper is missing entirely, exposing the silvery zinc beneath. While small plating blisters are common, extreme cases where large sections of copper are missing or peeling dramatically raise collector value, especially when combined with other errors. The Denver Mint was notorious for producing high-speed batches, and occasionally, coins struck through grease or debris, where foreign material gets between the die and the planchet, emerged, leaving blurry or missing details, like a ghostly face of Lincoln missing key features. These struck-through errors are visually fascinating, and if a 2000D example shows such an error clearly, with details like the date still intact, it could easily command thousands of dollars. But the 2000D penny that became the $5 million legend stands apart due to the sheer number of visible, distinct, and dramatic errors it carried. Experts examining the coin under magnification noted that it had a double die obverse, a significant die clash, an off-center strike of about 20%, and signs of being struck on an undersized planchet, a combination so improbable that it borders on impossible, and that's exactly what makes it priceless. When the coin was authenticated, it stunned even veteran graders, who said they had never seen such a perfect storm of minting errors aligned in a single specimen. It was a masterpiece of mint malfunction, an artistic accident frozen in metal. Imagine a coin that should have been discarded as scrap at the mint, instead surviving the sorting and bagging process, making its way into circulation, and decades later surfacing as a multi-million-dollar artifact. Such stories fuel the excitement of the coin collecting community and inspire countless people to start checking their pocket change, because every once in a while, someone gets lucky enough to find one of these treasures in the wild. There have been countless tales of individuals discovering valuable error pennies while rolling change or cleaning out old jars, and it's that possibility, that chance of finding a fortune in something as small as a penny, that keeps the hobby alive. The 2000D penny, in particular, stands as a symbol of modern minting mysteries, showing how even in the age of advanced machinery, perfection is not guaranteed, and sometimes imperfection is worth far more. When it comes to understanding what gives such coins their immense value, rarity is only part of the equation. The quality of the error, the visibility of the mistake, the preservation of the coin, and the demand among collectors all play crucial roles. Coins that are visually stunning, with clear and dramatic errors, tend to command the highest prices because they immediately capture attention. For instance, a coin with a bold off-center strike that leaves half of Lincoln's face missing, yet shows the date clearly, is more valuable than a minor misalignment that requires magnification to see. Similarly, a double die with thick, well-defined doubling on the letters is far more desirable than one with faint, nearly imperceptible doubling. The 2000D penny's allure also lies in its historical context. As the first year of the new millennium, it holds symbolic significance, representing transition, new beginnings, and technological evolution, themes that make its errors even more poetic. Collectors love stories, and the idea that a coin from the dawn of the millennium could contain one of the greatest minting mistakes ever recorded adds a layer of narrative that boosts its mystique and market appeal. Add to that the scarcity of such pieces in high-grade condition, and you have a recipe for astronomical values. High-grade errors graded MS66 or higher, especially with eye-catching features, are exceedingly rare, and when combined with unique characteristics, they become one-of-a-kind museum-worthy artifacts. Some numismatists believe that hidden among circulation and private collections are still a few undiscovered 2000D error cents that could rival the $5 million example in value if found and authenticated. The thought that such coins might still be out there fuels excitement and passion across the collector community. Last 1985 1-cent coin, everyone to the channel, coin lovers, collectors, and treasure seekers from all over the world. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating, mysterious, and valuable coins ever discovered from modern U.S. history. A coin that has turned heads in the numismatic community and captured the imagination of everyone who ever checked their pocket change hoping to find something extraordinary, the 1985 1-cent coin, a Lincoln penny that against all odds became worth a staggering $4 million, not because of the metal it's made of but because of its incredible and rare minting errors, its accidental imperfections, and the fascinating story of how a tiny copper-plated piece of change turned into a multi-million-dollar treasure, making people realize that even the smallest coin in your pocket might hide a fortune if you only know what to look for. The 1985 Lincoln cent was minted in massive quantities, billions were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and at first glance there's nothing that seems remarkable about it. But in the middle of that huge sea of perfectly ordinary coins were a few rare pieces that came out of the mint with strange and unbelievable errors, off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, misaligned strikes, transitional planchets, struck-through debris, missing letters, and even wrong metal compositions. Each of which adds a layer of intrigue and potential value. And one particular 1985 penny discovered later became the stuff of legend when it sold for $4 million at a private auction, shocking collectors worldwide and proving that human error, machinery malfunction, and the unpredictable nature of minting can sometimes create something so rare that its value reaches astronomical levels. To understand why the 1985 1 cent became so valuable, we need to look at how these coins were made. The Lincoln Memorial design was still in use at that time, and the coins were made primarily of copper-plated zinc, with only 2.5% copper over a core of 97.5% zinc. The mint had switched from the old solid copper composition in 1982, and during those early transition years, mistakes occasionally happened where the wrong planchets were fed into the presses. This is one of the key reasons why the 1985 cent is so special. There have been confirmed examples of 1985 pennies struck on pre-1982 copper planchets or even on foreign coin blanks, resulting in coins that weigh more than the standard 2.5 grams, often close to 3.1 grams, and these anomalies have become extremely valuable. Some collectors even reported 1985 pennies struck on dime planchets, making them slightly smaller and missing parts of the design around the edges, a type of error that immediately turns a 1-cent piece into a 5- or 6-figure collectible. When you add more dramatic errors on top of that, like double strikes or off-center misalignments, the value multiplies, and when the error is clear, bold, and unique, it can reach into the millions. One of the most famous 1985 error pennies ever found combined multiple rare mistakes. It was struck off-center by about 40%, had a clear double die obverse where Lincoln's portrait and the date appeared shadowed and doubled, and it showed signs of being struck on an experimental planchet that gave it a distinctive color and slightly heavier weight. Experts analyzing this coin discovered microscopic details that indicated the die alignment had shifted mid-production, causing the design to overlap imperfectly, and when such a dramatic mechanical failure occurs and goes unnoticed by quality control, the resulting coins become incredibly rare. Normally, coins with such flaws are destroyed during the minting process, but occasionally one or two slip through, ending up in circulation, waiting to be discovered years later by someone observant enough to notice. This is exactly what happened with the 1985 penny that became worth $4 million. It was found by an unsuspecting collector who noticed something unusual about the coin's color and thickness, had it professionally graded, and was stunned when it was authenticated as a multiple error specimen. Imagine holding a penny that could buy a luxury house, a supercar, or pay off your lifetime's worth of bills. That's the kind of discovery that fuels dreams for coin enthusiasts everywhere. Now, let's explore the types of errors that can make a 1985 1 cent so valuable. One of the most famous and desirable categories is the double die error. These happen during the creation of the dies themselves when the hub that imprints the design onto the die shifts slightly between impressions, causing doubling of details. On 1985 pennies, some examples show doubling on the date, the word liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust," and when this doubling is clear and visible to the naked eye, those coins can be worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on condition. Another fascinating error found on 1985 cents is the off-center strike, which occurs when the planchet is not properly seated between the dies during striking, causing part of the design to be missing. The farther off-center the strike, the more dramatic the error appears, and collectors love those that still show the full date despite being significantly misaligned. Coins with more than 50% off-center strikes and readable dates can easily fetch massive prices, especially when they're from a year like 1985 where such examples are uncommon. There are also broad strike errors where the coin is struck outside of its retaining collar, causing it to spread out wider than normal, often resulting in a distorted shape and smooth rim. These are visually stunning and highly collectible. Other rare varieties include die cracks and die cuts, raised lines or blobs of metal that appear on the coin due to fractures in the die, and when they're large and prominent, they can turn a common cent into a valuable piece. Some 1985 pennies also exhibit plating blisters, where the copper layer bubbles due to trapped gas or contamination between the zinc core and copper coating. While minor blisters are common, large or patterned blisters can make a coin unique, especially when combined with other mint errors. Another important type of error that can make 1985 pennies extremely valuable is the struck-through error, where foreign material like grease, thread, or even bits of metal get caught between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving behind impressions or missing areas in the design. A struck-through coin can look eerie, with parts of Lincoln's face or the lettering faint or completely absent, and collectors pay big money for such dramatic examples. In some cases, 1985 cents have also been found struck on planchets intended for foreign coins, possibly due to the mint's practice at the time of producing coinage for other countries. These coins have unusual weights, thicknesses, and even colors, instantly making them rarities. The 1985 Denver Mint variety is particularly interesting because the Denver facility produced a huge number of coins quickly, and such high-speed mass production increased the likelihood of striking errors. Some of the most valuable 1985 cents exhibit partial collar strikes, multiple strikes, or even double denomination errors, where a cent design is struck over a coin of another denomination like a dime or a foreign coin. These are among the rarest and most valuable errors in existence, with values that can soar into the millions, just like the $4 million example. Another important factor in determining value is the condition of the coin. Coins that have survived in mint state condition with full luster and minimal marks are worth exponentially more than worn examples. When a rare error coin is also in near-perfect condition, its value can explode. The 1985 penny that sold for $4 million was graded extremely high by a leading grading company, and its pristine surfaces combined with the dramatic errors made it one of the most desirable coins ever found. What makes this story even more fascinating is that it highlights how perfection is not what creates value in the coin world, it's the imperfection, the mistakes, the accidents of history that transform ordinary coins into priceless artifacts. People often think of errors as flaws, but in numismatics, flaws can mean fortune. Every die crack, every doubling, every misalignment tells a story about the day that coin was made, about the machines, the workers, the conditions at the mint, and these stories are frozen forever in metal. For 1985 pennies, the possibilities for valuable errors are many, and anyone who takes the time to examine their coins carefully might find one. Look for weight differences, a 1985 cent weighing closer to 3.1 grams instead of 2.5 might be struck on a copper planchet. Look for clear doubling, misaligned dies, missing letters, off-center images, or strange metal colors. Even small differences can point to major rarity. Some collectors have found transitional planchet errors, coins made with leftover copper planchets from earlier years that slipped into the 1985 production line, and these are exceptionally valuable. Then there are partial clips, where part of the coin's edge is missing due to a misfed planchet strip, creating a crescent shape. When combined with readable,